Hey everybody, it's Sunday, which means it's time for NHL Games of the Week, where we look ahead at the upcoming week in the NHL, Sunday through Saturday, and I choose which games I think are going to be the best and most exciting to watch this week. I tell you, there are a lot of games to choose from this week. There's a ton of great matchups, and I could not get them all on this list. It just would have been way too long. So I really did my best to try and pick out the best of the best this week, but there are a lot of games and a lot of great games coming up this week in the NHL. So let's take a look here. Before I begin, I just ask that you please subscribe, hit that thumbs up button. Both of those things help out so much and are greatly appreciated. But let's start here looking at our games of the week, starting with Sunday, today, the 31st. Dallas versus Carolina. Huge Central Division matchup there. They played last night. Carolina got a big win, handing Dallas their first loss of the season, and that's going to be another great game tonight. I definitely think Dallas is going to be looking to get some revenge after losing their first game. So that's an awesome matchup there between two very good teams in the Central. The Islanders versus Flyers. This is a game, two teams that played last night as well. The game went to overtime. The Flyers got the win. The Islanders desperately need to get back into the win column. They have been really struggling recently. So look for a big push from New York in that one. And that's just going to be a great game between division rivals. Longtime rivals in the Islanders and Flyers. And finally, the Avalanche and the Wild. You're going to see them pop up quite a bit on this list because they have played 1 out of 4 in a row that they're playing. Game 2 of those 4 in a row is tonight. Really, Colorado really took care of business in that first game last night. So I'm looking for Minnesota to have a little bit more pushback tonight as they are trying not to lose 2 in a row to the Avalanche, who are ahead of them in the standings. Moving on now to tomorrow, Monday night, we've got a couple of games to look at. One is Pittsburgh versus New York Rangers. These two teams played last night. They're playing again on Monday. And this is just a big, big series for both of these teams. They're both looking for wins. The Rangers have not had a great start. Pittsburgh's dealing with a lot of injury issues right now, but still finding ways to get points out of games and even win some games like they did last night in overtime. So that's just a huge matchup there between teams that have been longtime rivals as well. We also have the Bruins and Capitals as Boston and Washington go at it again. This is the second game of that set. They also played last night, and it was a phenomenal game. Washington went up 3-0 in the game. Then Boston came back, scored 3 unanswered goals, and then the Capitals ended up winning it in overtime. So it was just a phenomenal hockey game, as it usually is when Washington and Boston play each other, and I fully expect Monday's game to be no different. Moving on now to Tuesday, we have Dallas versus Columbus. This is a massive matchup in the Central. Columbus is trying to prove that they're a playoff team. Dallas trying to get back, on the right track in the win column after a loss to Carolina. We'll see what they do tonight against the Hurricanes. But big, big game between two teams that want to be not only making the playoffs, but making a run in the playoffs in the Central Division. As we go up north to Canada, we have the Calgary Flames and the Winnipeg Jets that play on Tuesday. That's going to be a heck of a game. Two teams that really want to, Winnipeg wants to be staying in the win column. They've had a solid start to the season. Calgary, not so much. They've had a little bit of a disappointing start, although they did win their last game against Montreal. So Calgary's going to be looking hard to get a win against a team that is higher than them in the standings and try and climb those standings a little bit. And we have Game 3 between the Avalanche and the Wild. Again, everything that I said about their first matchup, it still applies. Avs and Wild are playing 4 straight. That's just a big, big 4-game set in the West. Wednesday, there was really only one that I'm particularly looking at as a real game of the week material, and that is Boston versus Philadelphia. Bruins handled Philly pretty well in their first 2-game set this season, so They begin their second one here on Wednesday, and I fully expect the Flyers to come back strong and really want to get some revenge after losing both games to Boston that they played earlier in this year. Plus, it's Bruins-Flyers. It's always a great matchup, always fun when those two teams get together. And I think we're going to start to see some of that rivalry and nastiness build between those two teams, because now you're getting into the third game that they've played against each other. On Thursday, we have the exact same set as Tuesday. Dallas and Columbus, Calgary and Winnipeg, Avalanche and Wild for the final time. That's game number 4 of their 4-game set. Everything that I said the first time on Tuesday applies to their Thursday matchups. I think those are definitely the standout matchups of the series that are taking place on Tuesday and Thursday night. Just great matchups all around and going to be a lot of fun to watch with big points on the line. Friday, again, the only one on Friday, just like Wednesday, is Boston and Philadelphia. Again, Bruins, Flyers, every time they meet up, it's a big deal. And Philly is going to be definitely trying to get some revenge after dropping the first 2 games against the Bruins. And finally, that brings us to Saturday. We have the Avalanche versus the St. Louis Blues as 2 of the top teams in the West Division face off here. And they're normally Central Division rivals. Now they're West Division rivals. And but it's no different for Colorado and St. Louis. These are 2 teams that are going to be fighting hard for playoff positioning all season long, and I cannot wait to see them play against each other. They started the season against each other. They split the first 2 games. Now they're playing again, and anytime Colorado and St. Louis match up, it's going to be a game of the week. And finally, now that brings us to the final game of the week this week, the Battle of Alberta 1. Our first chance to see the Battle of Alberta takes place on Saturday, February 6th. Oilers and Flames, in my opinion, the best rivalry in the NHL right now. The best current rivalry that's the hottest out of all of them. Maybe not the best all-time rivalry or most historic, but the best rivalry in the game right now is Edmonton and Calgary. These 2 teams absolutely hate each other. We saw craziness between these 2 last season. I mean, line brawls, goalie fight, insane games just in general. And neither of these teams have started the season the way that they wanted. Edmonton has not been good out of the gate. Calgary's kind of struggled a little bit. They're around 500 now. So both of these teams are going to be really looking to get the 2 points out of this game as well. So it is going to be a massive matchup, a really important one for the wins and losses, and it's a huge, huge rivalry between those 2 teams. I cannot wait to see what they bring us this year. Hopefully, it's just as good as it was last season. So those are my games of the week for this week. Thank you guys for watching. Obviously, quite a few matchups, and there were quite a few that were kind of game of the week material that I had to leave off the list just so I could fit them all. There's a lot of great action in the NHL this week, so definitely have your eyes glued to your TV as much as you can, because there are phenomenal games each and every night this week in the league. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon, merchandise store, and donation link are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.